Nigel Farage has been attacked yet again. The first time he was attacked with a milkshake coming out of a Wetherspoons. This time he's had cement thrown at him while he's on the top of a bus, along with a coffee cup. And the police have very quickly arrested a 28-year-old afterwards. Let's watch the video and then let's talk about it. And you can see him trying to run away there from this angle. But then you see in just a moment, police are obviously chasing him and they come across and they detain him. And then I think there's another angle here from the sun, a different video angle coming up in a moment. This is from down the side of the bus. You first see this coffee cup thrown up there. And then you see him reach back and hurls cement up at the bus. So I'll link this in the description below so you can go and watch the rest of it and read the article in full. But this shows one thing: whether you love Nigel Farage or whether you hate Nigel Farage, this sort of behavior is not acceptable. And if anything, it proves that people that oppose him are not prepared to uphold the rule of law, which is don't throw coffee cups at each other, don't throw cement at each other whilst you're out campaigning. So for anyone that's standing against Nigel Farage in this scenario, they're not doing their own side any favours, because it just makes them look bad, because they're not prepared to comply with the basic rule of law, which is don't assault each other by throwing things at each other. So if you put someone in fear of harm, or it hits somebody and causes any kind of harm, then either of those can amount to common assault or actual bodily harm if it causes some actual bodily harm. And so the lessons we learn from this are, regardless of how much you dislike somebody, this is unlawful. This is unlawful behaviour for which you will be arrested, quite likely charged and prosecuted and convicted, although we've seen some rather strange acquittals recently, maybe more on those in another video. But as I say, however much you dislike somebody, however much you want to protest against somebody, which is a fair and part of the democratic process, you cannot take that to this sort of level where you are actually inflicting either the fear or actual harm upon someone else. That is unlawful, however much you dislike the person. Nigel Farage is quoted in The Sun here to say that the police did tip them off early, that there's going to be some sort of protest and that walking through the area wouldn't be a good idea. And he says, by the way, protest is allowed. Protest is part of the democratic process that he was talking about before. But protest needs to be within certain bounds and certain reason. Protest, he says, does not involve chucking cement towards me or even stones at the bus. It's violent protest and it's deliberate, he says. You might agree with me or disagree with me, that's fine. He says, I don't mind if someone shouted abuse in the street at me, I'll probably shout it back, that's fine. But when it comes to violence, that actually poses a real threat to the whole democratic process. That was pretty nasty this morning, he says. Had I got off the bus, I'd probably be in hospital. That's how nasty this is. And so that's one thing that I've observed this time around with this election. The fights and the arguments, the political debate have got so heated that they have quite literally become real in many respects. Out on the street among these politicians such as Nigel Farage and others who are protesting, counter-protesting and arguing in the street. I've seen all manner of confrontations and they're only going to end one way, and that is with the police arresting the individuals who are responsible for these actions, as they have done here. South Yorkshire Police arrested this 28-year-old on suspicion of public order offences. So as I say, I'll link the article in the description below, but if you're planning to attend one of these events, just remember that if you have particularly strong feelings against any individual and you can't control yourself and this gets out of hand, you might find yourself arrested. So please do consider your actions carefully, make sure you subscribe to my channel here, and thank you for watching.